Welcome back everyone. Got this Orbea Wild in the stand today. Got a big list of jobs on this one. It's actually working really well. The gears and the brakes, no issues here at all. We do have some other issues there. We have headset cable noise. Making some really bad noises in there. Rear shock's going to come off and be sent away for service. We're doing a lower leg service here. Got a new chain to go on. Headset bearings while we're in there potentially. Saddle's making a noise. And we're doing a full linkage change for all the bearings on the back end. Got my work cut out. Let's get going. This is cables moving around in here. Bearings actually feel really nice, but the customer's getting driven to distraction by this noise. So we're going to try and sort that out. We could be quite involved because Orbea thought it'd be a fantastic idea to put everything through the middle of the headset bearing, as you do. One saving grace is on SRAM axis, there's no gear cable. So one brake hose and all the associated e-bike cables that are going through here. So we'll get it apart and see what's going on and see if we can make it a bit quieter. Like I say, the bearings feel great, but hopefully it's just a case of getting some foam over these cables and quietening it down a bit. So we'll do that one first. It's probably going to be easier just to take this fork out anyway, because like I say, I'm going to do a lower leg service on it. So it might be easier to just drop that, and that will give good access to what's going on in the headset. So let's take that out first. Very nice bike, but wow, it's heavy. Crikey. And take the brake off to do the lower legs. Take this off. XTR calipers on this, very nice. You don't see many of them around, that's for sure. It's very well spec'd. So that's the front brake off. Now we can drop this out and see what we've got going on in here. Get the fork out. I think this headset has got a bit of a reputation of being one of the worst, so we'll see. I think I've done one before, I can't remember. How hard can it be? So that bolt's long enough for you. Flipping heck. Take that off. Drop the fork out. Like that. So with those bits off, we can see what we've got going on in here. This is a dropper cable, this is the brake hose, and then there's two cables here for the e-bike side of things. And these are what's making a noise. The problem on this bike, I mean it's a big problem on this bike, is you can't just drop the battery out. To get this battery out, you have to take the entire motor off and then take the battery out just to get access to doing anything more serious in here. So this is the noise we've got going on. That's the dropper cable. So take this off, we're going to have to run a new inner cable on this because it's, look at the state of it. No way I'm getting that back in there. And that's that disconnected. So this is proven to be a proper pain in the arse as expected. So I've unplugged these cables here. Dropper is already disconnected. So I may as well just go the full hog, take this brake hose off now. It's just going to make life a lot easier. And looking at Orbea's blue paper, those two cables that are rattling should be above the battery and they're not. They seem to have fell down the side. Anyway, that's the bar completely off now, so that's making life a bit easier. So what I'm thinking now really, that's getting a bit too annoying at the moment, I'm leaving that for a minute. What I'm thinking is, we've got to pull this back end off anyway to do all these frame pivot bearings. I can't get to this one without taking this off, which means I've got to take this off, which means there's not really going to be much left. I'm also taking this rear shock off to send it away for a service. I'm not going into this one because it's making some weird squelchy noises and an air can service isn't going to sort that. I don't do any more than air can services, so it's being sent away. So what I'm thinking is, by the time I've took that off, this off, there's literally only going to be the motor and the battery left in the bike anyway. So at that point you may as well just pull those out and secure that rattling cable. But you can see how much work this is now. It's just ludicrous, I'm not being funny, but absolutely ludicrous amount of work just to stop the rattling cable. This will probably end up being best part of a 2-day job. Absolutely mental. Right, you can tell I'm not impressed, can't you? Let's pull this crank. Self-extractors on these. I've took the chain guide off, but you still can't really get to that bearing to pull it without taking all this off anyway. Corrosion in there, crazy. That's off. And mark the orientation on one of these. Take this off. Spacers. Spacer. Then back in there. This one off as well, may as well. Don't really need to come off, but take this off. Screw missing here. Like that. Yeah, there should be another screw in here. And then we can get access to these two bolts here, basically to drop the motor. And there's two more up here. Pull that out. You see the battery now at least. There's a random spacer inside, it's going to fall out. unplug the cables, and we just got this one. I'll spin these out, the motor should just drop out there. There's going to be this one holding it on in a minute. Grab your motor, take that out. Like so, there's your motor out. You can see on this motor, this plate is loose as well, look at that. All the sides solid, so kind of a good job it did come out. That needs sorting out as well. So, with all that out of the way, we can see what's going on with these cables. This is a dropper one here. These are just electric cables, and the brake hose is this one here, which is in a sleeve. So we need to disconnect the battery now, which is that cable, and a couple of bolts, and that will slide out then basically. And we've got access to secure these. Right, the bike's upside down now, so we just take this clamp out for the battery. This is the connector for the battery. Disconnect that. And here's the problem cable, this one here. I mean, this is just a ridiculous amount of work, I'm sure you'd agree, just to move that cable to there, basically. Gotta find a way of securing it to the rest. So we might as well take the battery out now itself, which is here. And then it will just slide out, and we've got all the room in the world. So the problem with these, a lot of customers have these, and they want to fly with their bike. I believe that's a bit of a problem, because you need to take the battery out and put that in with hand luggage. On these, obviously, that's quite involved, shall we say. Where you got a cover, you take it off and clip your battery out, easy. These, not easy. You got to take this out as well, actually. There you go. That's the battery. This is the normal capacity battery. You get another one that's got a couple of inches longer, different bracket on the end. This is the normal one, but flipping weighs a ton. So now I can finally see what's going on down here, or not, as the case may be. Put a torch up here, you probably can't see, but they literally just rattle around doing nothing. There's nothing holding them together. One cable, dropper, and the brake hose, and that's your lot. So there's nothing to actually attach it to. I was hoping there would be a little clip that you could clip them into and keep them in the right place, but it appears to be that high tech. Just got to put the battery in and trap it in the right place by the looks of it. I'll leave the battery etc out now anyway, because I've got to do these swing arm bolts, and obviously there's no real weight on the bike at the moment there with the battery and the motor out. So rather than just loading it back up and putting all that in, we'll do the rear bearings first and then put it back together. Another issue you might have is because this hose is on a banjo, this is basically a pre-made hose, you can't terminate this end here. You can terminate it at the lever, no problem. However, if it's too short, you're going to struggle. You can't extend it really. You have to buy a brand new XTR or XT banjo cable that's already made up, pull that through the frame if this is not long enough. You can see here, that's where that cable's been running down the side of the battery, that's where it's been making the noise. Just there, that's that line. And this should be running across the top of the battery here. So I can actually get two cable ties down there and cable tie the dropper cable and the brake cable together very slightly, not very tight, just to keep them basically on here when I put the battery back in. I think it's going to be the best bet. So I've just added these two cable ties very loosely, not tight by any stretch of the imagination, and I can just slide my arm down here and get the cables where they need to be. You ain't got a fat arm. They also give you this on the down tube. It doesn't really do anything, but all I can do is probably just hook those cables through there and there, very lightly cable tie them out of the way until they get the battery in, and then they'll be in the right place. At least that's my plan. Well, unless you've got the skinniest arms in the world, I can't get my arm far enough in there to hook that through. So I'll just drop this caliper down just so I can get some slack in that hose at least, and hopefully we can just change that bearing with the swing arm pretty much in place. And just pull that through. Like I say, I've got really good access to it now with the motor out, so to get some slack. I can take this cover off, but it's not really going to achieve a great deal. Crack this one out now. Not literally crack, hopefully. It wasn't very tight, was it? Not very tight at all, that wasn't. There you go. Now, I just need to be able to pivot this up enough to get to these bearings in the frame. It should be okay. Yeah, we'll get those out, no problem. There's another pinch bolt in here. Make sure you loosen that before you take that out. It wasn't very tight either. Don't worry, I'll clean it all up. There should be a bush in here and a bearing in here somewhere behind this O-ring. Put the seal out carefully. Alright, so there's the bearing. I need to get my puller in there now because it's got a sleeve in the middle. It does make it slightly more difficult. In fact, it makes it a lot more difficult because that sleeve overlaps the end of this bearing. That's interesting. I'll get the other side out first. So that's an interesting design. There's a centre sleeve in here, but it overlaps the inside of both bearings. So you normally get a blind bearing pulley behind that and pull it out, but obviously I can't get to the back of the bearing because of the sleeve that's in the way, and it's the same on both sides. So to get this centre sleeve out, because you can't grasp it with a blind bearing puller, I'm going to pull one side of the sleeve and use that to pull this bearing out. And that seems to be moving, so let's go with that. Strange setup, this one. Yeah, it's coming out, no problem. This is the Part Tool suspension kit, this one. Oh, so that's out. That's the bearing. And that's the sleeve. Yeah, the sleeve sits inside the bearing, so you can't get hold of the back end of the bearing with a blind bearing puller. And it's the same on that side, so that's the way you do it. This side we can use this one, no problem, because we've got access to the inside of the bearing now. And then you can just wind that out, no problem. Like that. Alright, they're both out. So that's all cleaned up. Get some grease in here, get the new bearings in there, and press that in with the centre sleeve. Put this one back together on this pivot, and then carry on with the rest. I can honestly say I've never had so many tools out for one job as this. Ever. I'm going to press one side in first and put the sleeve in, and then the other one. Right, that's that in. Drop the sleeve in there. And then the other one. We've got at least 3 bearing kits out at the moment for this job. I would strongly not recommend DIYing this unless you've got a lot of kit. It needs to go in a bit more, but we're about there. Right, last little bit on that one. There we're in. First one done. Couple of seals just to press back in. It's got a flat bit and a hollow bit. The flat bit goes against the bearing there. Bit of grease in there, just tap them in. And I'll just push in pretty easily. If you leave a lot of grease around here, it's just going to attract grit, so grease where it needs to be, and that's it. Slide that arm over now, like that. On the bolt, get some grease on the bits that they're going to touch something. Blue Loctite on the thread, no grease on the thread. Get that in. And this goes to 20 Newton meters, this one. 20. And this pinch bolt is 8 Newton meters. I've got a ball end. There's no clearance to the frame here, so it's not ideal. So that's the main pivot bearing done. Probably the more challenging one. Move on to the next one now. I'll just pull out now. And then there's a circlip behind this one. Down here's a big circlip to get this bearing out. It's not a circlip, it's more of a hook that in there, and it will just ping out across the workshop, never to be seen again. There it is there, you see. Once you get it started, just peel it out, and that's it there. Right, this bearing will be easy to get out. It should just pull out very easily now. So if you don't take that circlip out, you've got big problems. You'll break your frame. That's it. Again, a bit of grease in here, just to help the bearing go in. That's another one. You slip back in. There you go. Perfect. That's that one done as well. UDH side now. It's a left-hand thread on this. There it is. Oh, paint on that bit. I'm guessing it's supposed to be like that. It's the same on the other side as well. On there. There's another one. This one here sits on the back of this bearing in between these two bits. So I'm guessing that's a factory finish then, because the spacer is there. 25 Newton meters they want. Oh, it's got a left hand thread, so you need a torque wrench that goes and torques to the left hand as well. Good. Get the through axle. Perfect. Right. So the only bit left now is the main linkage. So there's going to be 6 bearings in this. I've got to take this shock off anyway. Like I say, I'm sending it away. So it's a matter of doing this one, this one, this one. Same on the other side. Take the shock out. Put these bearings in. I've got a dummy shock. I'm not sure if it's going to work on this, but I'll try it. I'm going to have a tidy up in a minute. The workshop is an absolute disgrace. Tools everywhere. 6 and a 5. There you go. Hate them things. This one's an 8 and a 5, as you do. God. I'll take these out and that should just drop out then. There'll be some spaces in here, no doubt. Ready to fly everywhere. Yep, there they are. Get them out of the way, and this should just come out now. Some more spaces, no doubt. Like that. Just keep everything assembled like this so you know which one goes where. And then it's a case of changing all these pivot bearings. Now's a chance to clean all of this. It's the only chance you're going to get. Right, so with the linkage, I'm just going to power through, change these bearings off camera, and then come back to you when we put it all back together, because I'm conscious this video is going to be about 6 hours long otherwise, so it's just a case of pushing them out, putting new ones in. Right, give me 5 minutes. Say 5 minutes. Right, You know, I said 5 minutes. Best part of 8 hours later to try and get these two bearings out. I'll show you why. Because of this absolutely ludicrous piece of design they've put here. The profile of this will not allow any sort of cup to sit flush on there. All you're going to do is pull the bearing out on the piss, damage the paint. It's just nuts. I have every single puller under the sun. This is obviously a part tool bearing kit for suspension linkages. The new puller there, Libico. Old-fashioned giant puller there, which has got offsets in it. All these bits here. All these bits here. Literally tried absolutely everything. There's no way to get that out without damaging something. Unbelievable. I even cut this piece of tyre to guard it and just step it up and stuff. It just was not working. So what I did in the end, took 2 minutes, less than 2 minutes. Big massive threaded bar, 2 nuts, threaded inside. Undo these 2 nuts, pop straight out, literally just fell out. This one down here will be exactly the same. There's no way that's going to sit flush. Look at the angle of that. Just crazy. So suspension manufacturers, all bike manufacturers, please give us a flat on here, you can pull it out. The other end, it's nice and flat, pull them out in seconds. The rest of the bike you can pull them out in seconds, but these, why would you give a profile like that? So like I say, get yourself a threaded rod. I've already took one out, so I'm wedging it against there now. And it's literally just falling out, as you can see. Coming out no problem now. Oh wow, literally a 5-minute job has took hours. Several hours. This is the next day. Look at it, it's just flying out now, no problem. Alright. Anyway, okay, this is my new suspension bearing tool. I thought that might help somebody. I've got to do the same down these other two down here now. Alright, I'll be back when it's all assembled. Get this bit on. Spacer on each side of this, remember. That goes there. Throw that through there for a second. Make sure you get some grease on anything that's going to run against the bearings. Like this one. And try and get this in without dropping them spacers everywhere. Yeah, Allen key just helps keep everything together as you push it through. Like so. Bit of Loctite on this one and 10 Newton meters. Lovely and smooth. Let's get these back in now. Right, these are a bit fiddly. So 2 different spaces here. Greased on the bolt and Loctite on the thread, and then get this through without knocking them out again. Right, because the shock is going away for servicing, I've got to put this dummy shock in here. Hopefully it will fit. It's designed to fit a lot of things. Made by BSC, this one is. Just nip that up loosely and then get some spacers and bolts in here. That one, yeah, you're not going to get that other spacer in there, but it'll be fine without that for now. Like that, and just loosely bolt this in. That's it. So that'll support the frame now. Don't lose these in the meantime while I'm waiting for the shock. Put these somewhere safe. Alright, so with all that done, give it a wipe down, bit of a polish, and that'll stay there until the shock comes back from Fox. Like I say, I'm not doing shock servicing. I'll do air can services, that's it. The rest of it is just, there's so much kit you need these days, it's just ridiculous for the few and far between that I see. So that'll stay there until that comes back. So now we can look at putting this battery back in, putting the cable in the right place, putting this motor back in, and then move to the front of the bike. Just before we continue, quick pause to say a massive thanks to Sport and Leisure for sponsoring today's video. So we all know there's nothing worse than being right in the middle of a big job like this, only for everything to come to a grinding halt because a part you ordered said it was in stock, it wasn't in stock. It wasn't even in the same country sometimes. I don't know how they get away with it. Anyway, that's exactly why I use Sport and Leisure. They're based right here in the UK. Stock levels are 100% live, said it's on the shelf, ready to go. Get your order in before 3 PM, it's dispatched the very same day with free delivery on all orders. Plus, if you need it faster than that, next day delivery is from only £2.50. Absolutely brilliant when you need it the next day to crack on with the job. So they've also updated the channel discount scheme for you. Head over to sportandleisure.com/BCR or scan this QR code on the screen right now. It'll generate a unique 10% discount at checkout off your very first order. Don't buy parts anyway, it's an easy way to save a bit of extra cash. So the link's in the description below, and a massive thanks again to Sport and Leisure for continuing to support the channel. Alright, let's carry on with this. Get this battery back in and make sure these cables go in the right place. Just get this plugged in before you push it in, otherwise it's a bit difficult. Drop this in to hold that in place there. And to the front, I'll tighten them in a second. Let's get that lined up and hopefully get the thread started. Yeah, there you go. World's smallest screw. And some adjustment on this, so we'll just put it in the middle for now. Okay, right, motor. So get the motor back in, it's just 6 bolts basically, and a couple of spacers. Make sure you get them back where they came from. That didn't go there, did it? That went in that one. And then we'll torque to 20 Newton meters. Like that. That bracket that was loose, I've already tightened that back on as well. Just make sure you're not pinching the cable as well. It's got a pretty natural channel where it sits on this one. Now just plug straight in. Get them in and torque them all to 20 Newton meters. I've only got a long T40 bit, unfortunately. Okay. So make sure this cable can actually move. This one can, no problem. And there's another one here, which is also free. That's good. Right. So that's on. Now we can get these covers back on. That goes in there. I'll find a screw for the one that was missing there as well. I'm also just going to add a drop of grease to these because they're in a pretty vulnerable position. I'm seizing up. I'm going to go to a race tomorrow. Race support mechanic. I don't know how many people are there. Several hundred, I think, by all accounts, but it'll be interesting. Right, let me find a screw for this. Okay, what's that on? Next bit. Well, this goes on here, so I've got to take these bolts back out now, which is helpful. And then it was cable tied on at the back, wasn't it? Flipping cable ties to hold it on. Take these back out then. This would have been easier to cable tie to the plastic one first, wouldn't it? Clearly. Surely it would have been better to have tabs down here to there, but hey. That's how it was. Alright, so that's pretty much finished now. I'll get the cranks on later. Get the bike the right way up now. Chuck some more bits on, put this brake back on as well. This little dainty derailleur on. Look at this, the size of my arm. Just ridiculous these things are. Wow. Okay. Right, so I'm going to bolt this caliper back on, and obviously we've got to align it with the wheel. A bit more Loctite on these. Bolting it on loosely, because obviously we've got to move it once the wheel goes back in to realign it. So we'll get the wheel back in now. So we're not doing anything to this wheel. Everything's working beautifully. Yeah. There. In. Next we'll put the cranks back on, all that chain guard, all that stuff. Bang a chain on, and then we're done with the back end finally. Wow. I'll get these bits back on now, and then we can put the cranks back on. And these threads are looking pretty crusty, so I'm just going to put a drop of grease on them. Drop a Loctite back on there, and replace the old stuff. 16 pairs of hands again. Of course it'd be Torx. Why are you Torx and the other one's Allen key? Oh my god. A bit fiddly. Everything about this bike's a bit fiddly. You can see the old dents where they used to be bolted into on the aluminium, so that gives you the alignment, which matches that mark that I put on there, so that's good. Like that. That's going to be in the way of the chainring in a minute, but that's fine. He asked you for a bit of grease on this one. So the O-ring that came out of there shouldn't be there. If you speak to E13, they recommend fitting this without that O-ring because it basically just gets squashed and affects the torque. They put out a document saying that they don't recommend using the O-ring. You can still use it, but they don't recommend you do with their chainring. And the lock ring, there's a big debate about this. Torque rating is 25 to 30 matched on here. Apparently Bosch have released a updated spec to that to slightly higher, 35 to 40. Because they come loose, so I would err on the side of tight. At the end of the day, this is aluminium and that's steel, so if you break anything, you're going to break this. And it's easily available, so I would go on the tight side. So that will go on there, and that gets torqued to, I'm going to get to 35, I think. They don't give me a torque rating. I'm going to go and look for another one now, which is nice. Normally it's printed on here, but not this one. It's good stuff on E13's website though, some loads of information on there, so that's always good. 40 to 48, so we'll go somewhere in the middle. Like that. So with that installed, we can support that left-hand pedal on a block of wood so we can torque the chainring now. Good. And we can put this back to where it was. Still got to fit a chain, but we'll get it through there, no problem. Well, put this crank on. Torque this one up, get the chain on. Okay, brand new chain. Oh, one was in spec, but a customer specifically asked for a new chain. I guess he's keen on preventative stuff. And it's a lot cheaper than changing everything else. Oh no, that's not going well. Definitely impressed with these Shimano ones. It's so much easier, as you all told me it would be. Just to squeeze it to join, rather than the part tool one where you had to pull it apart, and it was very, very difficult. For an old person like me it was. That's on. Good. Sort that brake out now, that's rubbing. Loads of room on this one. That'll be good there. Right. Looking a bit more like a bike again finally, except for the bright orange shock. Don't try bouncing on that. It's purely for display. Right, now onto the fork. Get that lower leg service done, get the fork back in, and then fight his headset. That'd be good. So I'm going to do the lower leg service. I've covered this off in many, many videos, so I'm going to literally fly through this. It's just showing you the highlights, and get it back on the bike, and then we can do that headset. Right, let's go. Check the air pressure, 81. Let that out. Slowly. Take this off. Remember where these settings are, write them down. So high speed rebound, low speed rebound. 4, 5. Take this off. Take this off. I've got a tool to knock these on with. Crush washer on there, we'll get that off in a minute. And now these little things here, you can use the nuts if you want, but these are the proper tools, so you just screw on. About halfway, leave some threads, and then you've got to hit this on the end. Like that. Right, spin it around and let that oil drain it out when you take the legs off. Take these off first, that would help. And it should just slide off now. Like that, and there's your oil. Let them drain as well at the bottom. Get 5 minutes, we'll come back. Clean it until you're bored cleaning. This isopropyl alcohol. Said it. Flipping heck. Everything spotless. Pop out the seals if you're changing them. Not essential if they're in good condition. We're just doing the full Monty here anyway. So. There's a foam ring. We're going to change those as well. Not too bad actually, to be honest, but it's been requested, so we'll do it. And more cleaning until they get bored. Set of seals in here, so that's new wipers, new foam rings, crush washers, everything you need for a lower leg service. Alright, get these foam rings soaking in some oil first. Right, they've been soaking for a while, get these in now. Drop them in, put these in first before the wipers. Then you'll need a fork driver to get these in. Basically it just slides over there like that. Drop it in the fork, tap it on the end, and it goes in pretty easily. Tap it in. Done. Just take these springs off and drop them over the stanchions. Just makes it a bit easier to get these on. Like so. And then these are just going to go on here. Just slide these over very carefully. Like that. You need to add oil into this leg here. So just pull that out so you've got a cavity in here. I'm adding bath oil into here. Check out your manufacturer's recommendations for spec of oil and quantity. And just drop it into here before we button it up. So I'll just do that now. She's asking for Fox 5 weight, which is actually obsolete now. It's been replaced by a Fox 4 weight apparently, but I've still got a bit left, so we'll keep using this. So damper on this one is asking for 40 cc's, 40 mil. This is 10 cc, I need a bigger syringe, so I'm just going to add 4 of these into the damper side. 20 into the air side. Now you need to slide this back on so you can expose the 2 bits you've got to screw it onto without chucking oil everywhere. And this is where you might need a bit of air just to shoot this out here. Not literally shoot it out, but just extend it a little bit so you can get your bolt on. You need crush washer on this side. Right, top those up, pull some air in it, job done. 5.7 Newton meters on both of these. That's it. Same on this one. It's a special Milwaukee socket I bought, 1/4 inch, 15 mil, just for this job. Drop these back in now and remember to set them to where they were. That's that bit done. It's just a case of pumping it back up to what you had. So put about 20-30 psi in there, and then just cycle the force. So just push it up and down on the ground to equalise the air pressure, and then keep going every 20 or 30 psi until you get to the pressure that you had before. So this was 81. Alright, so that is done, pumped up, 81 psi, lovely. Now I can go back on the bike and we've got to look at this crazy headset. Let's have a look. Alright, wish me luck. Let's put this bearing back in first, absolutely perfect condition, so drop that in. Get the fork in there. Fork's just supported on there while we get this headset back together. Again, this is in perfect condition. No corrosion, nothing, so we're going to put these back in. And you want to change it while you're in there, you can do, but it's 50 quid that we don't need to spend because there's nothing wrong with them. Like a little steering blocker thing in here. I'm sure it's got a technical name, sorry. And then we'll get these cables through the headset ring. Okay, so that is the dropper cable there, brake cable, 2 computer cables. So it goes there like that. And then this piece goes on. And the rubber bits go on top of that, not down there. This piece goes on here like that, and this bit. Like so. And there you just drop in there. I think this one might be the wrong way around, but I can soon move it. That's right, good. And this one. Almost forgot my spacers. They go in first. Right, that goes in there, like so. And then you can put your stem back on, it'll locate itself into here. And that'll locate down to there. Finally, this top cap with another spacer. And the world's longest bolt, I remember this. Hallelujah. Right, I'll take my stool out now. And she's safe. Good stuff. Right. It actually feels pretty good as it is there. Let's get this aligned at some point. I'll just nip it up loosely for now. It must have come with AX because there's no hole here for a rear derailleur. It's a bit. I thought he said he'd upgraded it. Maybe I was wrong. This has got an over torque block in it. This piece here, look, is designed to stop you over torquing it. Apparently, doesn't mean you can just hang off the end of an Allen key. Get it right still. Right, I'll finish that later when I get it aligned. I'm just going to connect everything up now. Right, this brake hose is plenty long enough, thank goodness. So I can re-terminate that. Drop a cable, no problem. Plug these in to the computer. Is the cable noise any better though? Maybe slightly. Literally nothing else you can do. Literally held the whole bike apart to try and sort it out, but better than it was. Under normal sort of steering, I can't hear it, which you could before. So I'm just going to throw this wheel in because I need this bike out of the stand to do something else temporarily. Okay, good. Right, I'll get this off the stand and I'll come back to it later on. Almost 3 weeks later, finally getting back onto this. I've been on holiday, this shock's been on holiday. Coming back from Fox UK, freshly serviced, several warranty parts inside there actually, so glad I didn't attempt that one. Sounds like I'd had some real issues. Anyway, just a matter of getting this back on the bike, a couple of other bits I need to just button up and we're done. So while I was waiting for that, I did connect up the dropper and the hose, bled that, and these cables. No issues there at all, so that's all back together. I did have one minor scare, plugged it back in, switched it back on, and this just went up and down and switched off instantly. I think the customer is actually in Australia at this point, so I texted him and I think he had his bike lock attached to the bike, basically his remote sort of Bosch lock system, so we disconnected that, still didn't work. Took this out, and there's a cable in the back of this that had fell out while we were jiggling around in there, plugged that back in, and away she goes. So that was, yeah, minor heart attack, but simple fix, thankfully. Right, let's get this shock back on. Very straightforward, it's literally just unbolt this, bolt it back in. There's 2 bearings in here I've also changed as well. I'm going to try and do it on the floor, because the bike is pretty damn heavy, as you know. Apologies if I get in the way. Weather update. It's about 23 degrees now, it's not 40 odd degrees or whatever it was. So it's actually pretty pleasant now in the UK. This is under a bit of load, so yeah. Take that out. And then we should be done, I think. There's one issue we've got to look at on the saddle as well. So I changed those as well, off camera, sorry. Same as before, a bit of grease on the flat bits, bit of Loctite on the threaded bits. I'm guessing a lot of you have been shouting at the screen saying the easiest way to fix this rattling cable is to fit a wireless dropper post. Well, you're not wrong. You're absolutely not wrong. But have you seen the cost of those things? Oh my god. I've seen Transex do one for a couple of £100 though, rather than near enough best part of £1,000. Anybody got any experience of that? It looks fairly decent, to be honest. But the Fox ones are, wow, fantastic bit of kit, and it would get rid of the cable rattling issue 100%, obviously, because there is no cable. Oh wow, what a price. Right, I'm just going to bolt this in loosely while I get everything lined up, and then we'll talk it all up. Anyway, football match tonight. I'm not a big fan of football, I'll tell you that for nothing. I quite enjoy watching the World Cup. So. Rather inconveniently, they put their game on at the same time as my video launch, so I've had to rejiggle things. Can't believe they didn't consult me first. Very inconsiderate. That should go in there now without too much of a fight. Lift the back end of the bike up and just jiggle her in. There you go. That's in. So I spoke to Fox on the phone while I was paying for this. The customer's paying for it obviously, but while I was paying for it. And talking about their training days. So they do training days for shops, etc. So I'm looking at doing that end of the year when they're a bit quieter. That's when they do their training. Hopefully just expand my skills a little bit on shocks. Like I say, I do lower leg and air can, no problem, but anything on dampers, I just don't touch it. But it's probably more about confidence than anything, so that could be quite useful. I'm not sure if they'll let me film anything down there. That would be even better, wouldn't it? If anyone from Silverfish is watching, let me know if you want to do that. That'd be cool. I'm happy to pay for the training day, obviously. Top these up, 10 Newton meters they're asking for on these. Not very tight. And 10 on this final one here. Okay, it's on. So the last thing I want to do is look at the saddle, because quite noisy. It's also broken as well. It's actually peeling off at the back. But we're sort of clicking out, that's easy. Slacken these out. That's the carbon rail on this one as well. Just going to take a picture to make sure I put it back in the right place. He has got it pretty far forward, that's for sure. And the good news is I've fully edited this video up until what you're seeing just now. So it's almost ready to go. And the clicking's coming from here, these bolts, especially at radius end where it sits in the cradle. It just clicks around, so drop a grease on there and I'll be silent. Give it all a good clean as well. Same on this bit here, that's where it's creaking. You see there was a bit of grease on here previously, so we're just going to replace that as well, and that'll also help. Just full of grit. Don't worry, the bike's got to have a finer wipe down yet. So. And these bits here, we are just going to put a little bit of grease on these as well. This front one I'm just going to spray because I don't want to adjust the angle of the saddle particularly. I'm not drowning it in grease, it's just a very light coating, that's all it needs. Obviously the rails as well. I'm not sure I'm seeing the value of carbon rails on a bike that weighs best part of, I don't know, 30 kilos. Maybe save 20-30 grams there, but hey. Anyway, it's a nice saddle, apart from it's broken now. Like I say, it's pretty much delaminating here. But anyway, make sure you get this right way around. There's normally always arrows that are stamped on here, showing you the direction. A bit of a greasy finger on there as well, that's it. Now, my absolute least favourite job of getting these things on. Again, there's an arrow there as well. I don't think this one's too bad, I'll be honest. Try and do it without getting in your way again, shall we? Get this started first, it's a lot easier. I hate these things so badly. Like I say, if you've only undone one, then it should be pretty much the same as where you left it, really. Kind of obviously. They want about 5 Newton meters on here, plus you're on carbon rails as well, so go bonkers with it. I think that is more than tight enough for that. Has it fixed it? Of course it has. All gone. Job done. So a quick final wipe down and this will be ready to go back to the customer. I think he's actually still in Australia or somewhere across the other side of the world. I'm not entirely sure where he is, but anyway, he's ready to go. So yeah, quite involved, a lot of work there just to sort out a rattling cable basically. You could try and get some foam in here. I did actually try off camera and you could get a little piece in here. It won't go over the battery, that's the problem. There's just no room at all. So yeah, quite a bit of work, dropping the motor, dropping the battery, etc. I know it's kind of 6 bolts for that and a couple of plugs, so it's not the end of the world, but then you got to take the cranks off to access bolts, etc, etc. So it soon adds up into a bit of a job. I've got another one out there in a minute, Scott Genius. Oh my god, I'm not looking forward to that one. That's going to be the worst job I've ever done, I think. Anyway, that video will be coming soon. If you did enjoy this video and you want to see that one, you might want to consider subscribing. So I put content out twice a week normally, and there's 150 odd videos out there already. You might want to check out some of the back catalogue. Anyway, thanks for your time, thanks for watching, and enjoy the rest of your day.